the majority of the items in the budget, and a statement that any future cuts that we're able to achieve through reprioritization will go into contingencies and be swept out of the department's budget. I think that's something we could live with, because then we're only dealing with changing the contingency number. But we need to hone in on a set of numbers to get our schedules ready for you on the 16th. So the budget we have before you today, in all of its glory and all of its problems, is a balanced budget solution. If we could move forward on that, there's a lot of work that's still yet to be done. I think we all take the board's comments seriously. We were talking earlier about, how do we get into these messes? Stable leadership is part of what gets us into this message, and it's a lack of stable leadership. I think we've had 4 different CEOs in the last 5 or 6 years. And so it's hard to have consistent, sound policy direction when you have change at the executive office level. That's part of the problem. If we're going to have an honest discussion about what our problems are and how we're going to fix them, we have to take responsibility at all levels. And there has not been consistent direction from the top leader, whether it be your CAO or your CEO, because you've had a number of them in the last few years. I know that. I'm here to fix it. So we'll roll up our sleeves and we'll get done what the board asks us to do. And if we don't do it, I'm prepared to be held accountable for what we don't deliver from the board. I'm here to deliver on what your board wants to have done, and we will follow through in our office.
And before I go to Supervisor Pinches, I need to remind the board that what we are not dealing with, what we're not seeing yet, is the very draconian cuts that are going to be coming from the state. I do believe there's not going to be a will in Sacramento to keep all those projects funded to the amount that they are today a month from now, or in my prediction, when they pass the budget before Christmas. So we're not even looking at those yet. So to be really messing with the opportunity that we have today to put in our budget, then still have some lee room to adjust for those as they come down to us. I think if we cut additional now, we're going to be cutting that much more once those cuts come through from the state. So just a reminder, we haven't even seen the axe being welded from the state yet. So Supervisor Pinches.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to word this a little bit different, so it's a different motion, but I'm going to make a motion that we move forward with this balanced budget proposal that's been set forward by the CEO staff, with the commitment of the CEO's office that they come back with these future recommendations on some of these issues that's been talked about. Leave that motion simple. But it basically leaves everything in the budget. It leaves us with a $10,000 contingency. And if, for instance, we move forward with that's my motion. That would be my motion. But to follow up on it, if, as a for instance, say we do move to privatize solid waste, and there's savings that will be allowed for in this year's budget, then we wouldn't have to transfer the money out of the franchise fee, the closure account, to do this. And I'm hoping that's what'll happen. But we must get past today with this and move forward. And all these things like Supervisor Colfax and Kendall and Mike were all talking about, they're completely right. I don't disagree with any of these issues they're talking about, and they need all to be looked at. But frankly, we can't ask staff to do it all within a week. We have to move forward, and this is a proposal to move us forward. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that is a motion. To reiterate, that is basically to move with the recommended action by the CEO on a teeter plan, and to move forward with this sheet, which leaves us with a $10,729,000 contingency. And that leaves all the external requests funded.
Okay, that is a motion. And do I hear a second? to county council. If I hand over the gavel to the vice chair, who then has to hand it over to somebody else since he made the motion to allow me to second it, who would that person be that eventually winds up with the gavel? And who is that? Anybody? Okay. Well then, Johnny, you made the motion, so you can't do that. So.
No, wait a minute, you gotta pass to me, and it's my option to pass it to somebody.
Then I'll second the motion.
I'm gonna pass it to our auditor.
Well, we had a member of the press
No, I
volunteer
wanna
there.
pass it
so-
to an elected official.
Okay. To a board member.
Oh, you said anybody. What if I don't wanna pass it? There's no sense in passing it if it doesn't have the third
pass
vote.
it
What
to
are we
Michael.
talking about? Why don't somebody call a 5:30 rule?
Not
here?
yet. I did second the motion. So, Michael, you are now Chair Pro Tem with a motion and a second before you, sir.
How you end up with this? Well,
You're so good looking.
Well, that is given.